So, from a conventional point of view, Rolfing works from the outside in, and it works through the muscles and the tendons and the joints, what we conventionally would think of as the body, in order to change the shape and the structure of that body so that that body can be in cahoots with gravity. From an unconventional point of view, which is self-rolfing, so you're not dependent upon an agent outside to instigate these changes, but in effect you are doing them yourself. You work from the inside to the outside. You basically explore the unknown cave of the body. It's interesting. We have explored mountaintops, deserts, jungles, deep oceans, Jacques Cousteau, but that which is so close to us remains unexplored. So with self-rolfing, you invite gravity to come down and into your body, and you meet it with the basic goodness of your breath. And interestingly enough, when you do that, they ignite. And that becomes similar to a light, a torch, which then becomes your guide in terms of investigating from the inside to the outside. And indeed, also by doing this, you are changing your structure, but you're doing it in a rhythm that's intrinsic to you, rather than maybe having to adapt yourself to the rhythm of another working on you or with you or through you. You do it at your own timing, you do it at your own pace, and the exploration becomes, gosh, what can I say? It becomes an adventure you never could have anticipated being available to you before. And similar to Japanese flower arranging, ikebana, where the stem that connects heaven and earth, in this case also, you take a position similar to that. Always that stem that connects heaven and earth comes in at a 45-degree angle. So you take a position, and by the way, these are not asanas, they're not predetermined positions. There isn't a priori sense of having to fulfill something already established. And it will vary from person to person according to where they feel most stuck, where they might feel most inspired to explore initially. But you more or less find a 45-degree angle. It may be that your face and neck are on the ground, on the earth, on a mat. And it may be that your sacrum is in the air and you are resting with your knees either together or apart. And you're therefore inviting this gravity to come down like that stem on a 45-degree angle through your back, and interesting, right where the diaphragm connects in back of the heart. I found that to be a very powerful place to begin this adventure, because it lets the heart begin to drop from the back, where it is often held out of shyness, grief, whatever, and it begins to drop closer to the sternum. The sternum is interesting. On one hand, you can say that it's lovely to have this bone in front of your heart, so that if you have a car accident, the steering wheel doesn't impale you. On the other hand, you could look at the sternum as the cave or rather the rock in front of the cave that needs to be removed so that you can walk free, a la your own version of resurrection. Roll back the cave, let the heart be open, because now it is known. It is known by you, and it is known by gravity. Gravity, by the way, so far in our culture is known pretty much as a kind of dicing of science, this thing that goes 32 feet per second, and that's it, you got it right on the exam. But suppose it's not just that. Suppose it is a living, sentient, almost, spirit that pervades the universe, available to you. After all, it does hold the universe together. Suppose it is actually the hand of God, the hand of Buddha, Allah, that is going through you, that is reaching through your back into your heart, so that the isolation perhaps that you have felt, the starkness you have felt of not being included in that sacred vision is immediately illuminated, so that not only are you changing your structure, you're changing the awareness of what it means to live inside this place that used to be a cave. That's kind of how self-rolfing works. I might also say that this journey has an invitation to experience the ancestors. You find that inside your own walls, inside the walls of your body, there are appearances that seem very similar to the appearances of the caves of Lascaux or Altamira, because after all, you are only a point on a whole chain of being that has preceded you. And all the DNA that has happened for, who can count up to you, is still extant in you. I can also say, both with conventional Rolfing and self-Rolfing, that you are bringing together the three brains. The cerebral cortex, what we normally refer to as the brain, works at its peak if it includes the mammalian brain, and that works better if it includes the reptilian brain. So you're actually bringing all of these together into a force field that is within now the living presence of this cave. And so actually you can start to walk through this cave. How do you do that? You simply walk through your pores, as it were, as if, in fact, your skin is kind of like a peacock's tail. It has many eyes to it, so you're not obliged to merely see and perceive the world from these two that are in your head. Your whole skin becomes a living, visionary experience. Enough said. I mean, I can go on and on, there's enough said.